Hey everybody, let's go ahead and rank some Pantheons. This is going to be my 2023 Pantheon ranking video. Before we get into the actual rankings, let me get my logic out of the way right now. I play Deity Civilization 6 and my goal is to win as fast as possible. I'm not interested in empire building. I don't care about overall performance. I just care about getting the win as fast as possible and my rankings will reflect that. Things I do not factor into my rankings are if it's hard or easy to get, I'm not concerned with that. I am just looking for overall performance. I also will not increase Pantheon's ranking just because it happens to be the best choice for one or two civs. It's more of a general list. It's an overall. If you pick this Pantheon, will you perform better or worse at winning in as few turns as possible? With that said, if you agree with the things I say, please drop me a like and subscribe. If you disagree with the things I say, let me know in the comments and tell me where I'm wrong. And still subscribe and do it on all my videos. Either way, I win. So let's go ahead and get into the rankings. All right, so starting at the top of the list, you have Dance of the Aurora, Desert Folklore, and Sacred Path, the Adjacency Pantheons. Now, you need the terrain for these to work. Let's just get that out of the way right now. If you don't have the terrain, these are absolutely worthless. But based on the assumption that you have the terrain, these are all A tier, with the one exception. Sacred Path, I would say, is very high B, low A. It just depends on how quickly you can get your holy sites down. The reason why Sacred Path is slightly worse than the other two is if you're playing a sub 200 game, you're going to be chopping that rainforest. It doesn't matter how much faith and production that rainforest is providing you. You need the immediate production. So you're just losing out on the bonus this Pantheon is providing. Obviously, you're going to go a work ethic based religion if you pick any of these. But overall, these are the best second choices in the game. Their only problem is they do not directly get you down the science or culture tree faster, which is what you need overall. All right, next up is River Goddess. This is a pantheon that actually does perform pretty well in a more general, you just want to win the game fashion. It's really standout pantheon with the Khmer. As far as a sub 200 game, the only thing this does is it provides me two amenities that might get me to ecstatic level in my cities sooner. If I look at the tiles and I don't have a much better option, this could be a choice just based on that. I'd have to see how many holy sites I could build off rivers naturally. But overall, this is a very much a C tier pantheon. It can provide something, but the things it provides are just very minimal. All right, so next is Monument to the Gods. Monument to the Gods, 15% production to ancient classical wonders. A low C tier. It ranks above no Pantheon at all, and that's about it. It disappears too soon, and 15% in ancient and classical eras is such a small amount. Now, some of the best wonders appear in those eras, but the honest truth is to pick a Pantheon to get 15% of your very low production isn't going to change the fact that those wonders are already really hard to get. You're better off picking a different pantheon and just chopping out those wonders. All right, next up is Divine Spark. And the less I can say about Divine Spark, the better. It is generally an overall bad pantheon. The main problem is great people points are the worst way to get great people. Just buy them with gold or faith, our spam city projects, and earn massive amounts of great people points that way. Per turn great people points is just an inefficient way. Overall bad, it's D tier. All right, so our next pantheon is Lady of the Reeds and Marshes. Uh, I'm going to rank this slightly higher, let's say high C, low B, because it's available from the start. Marsh Oasis, those tiles are pretty strong tiles. They're just missing production. If you add production to them, they're amazing. You need the tiles to support it, and they will save you builder charges, which is nice. You don't need any technology. You don't need a builder. It gives you solid workable tiles at the cost of a Pantheon. There's better options, but this is not a bad Pantheon if you have the tiles to support it. After that, we have Goddess of the Sea. This is the exact opposite of Lady of the Reeds Marshes, my opinion. You need a technology to access it because you need sailing to improve sea resources. Plus, you need builder charges. On top of that, your sea resources can be pillaged by water barbarians, who, in my opinion, are just more aggressive at pillaging and have the tendency to pillage and retreat, not pillage and stick around to allow you to eliminate them. So it can remove the bonus this Pantheon is providing. And with that, I just Goddess of the Sea, if you're trying to win under 200 turns, it's D tier. It's just not good. It doesn't provide enough. If you're playing a really water heavy map, I would rank it up higher, but on average, it's just not going to perform. So, Lady of the Reeds and Marshes, low B, maybe high C. Goddess of the Sea D tier. It just requires too much. All right, so next up is God of the Open Sky and Goddess of the Festival. These are the two S tier sub 200 pantheons. Every victory is won by getting down the science and culture tree. Doesn't matter which victory you're going for, you do need to advance down those trees to win it. These are the only two pantheons that give you direct yields to one of those trees. And it happens to be culture, which is the, in my opinion, strongest yield in the game. It's in very short supply early game. You have monuments, and that's about it. So to get another source of culture early is just so overpowered. It's getting you to your governors sooner. It's getting you to new governments sooner. It's unlocking these strong cards sooner. Everything that enhances your empire overall is unlocked in that culture tree. So to have an extra source of it is just huge. You need the tiles to support it. But really, if you have 4 or 5 tiles, this will outperform every other Pantheon on the list. Goddess of the Hunt is the strongest improvement based Pantheon, in my opinion. It also suffers the most the shorter the game is. This would normally be an incredibly high ranking Pantheon if you were asking me, but if you're doing a sub 200 game, tiled yields are just so much less impactful. You're going to want to chop most all your camp tiles unless they're a luxury and can't be chopped because they're going to provide bulk production. Otherwise, it's such a strong pantheon. It adds the right yields to tiles that you want to work. Normally, the only thing that's holding back a camp tile is low food. So to add another food and another production on there is huge. But with shortness in the game and the fact that you're just going to be chopping out most of them, this is going to be a very low B. Like I said, if you have a lot of camp luxuries, this isn't a bad choice if an adjacency or a culture pantheon doesn't fit your situation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and group stone circles, religious idols, and gods of the craftsmen together because they all suffer for the same reason. They specify a very distinct group of tiles and they provide a very minimal bonus to have such a specific group. Quarries, strategic resources, our mines over luxuries, and bonus resources are all too small of a pool to provide such a low bonus and have it be worthwhile in all three respects. All in all, they are D tier. God of the Craftsmen, depending on the tiles you have, can perform better, but just on average, you're not going to have that many strategic resources that faith and production is going to add up to something that's going to be game changing. Let me just say, you don't build an army, you buy it. In a sub 200 game, why are you wasting production on building an army? Just get gold and buy it, levy troops, any number of ways to get an army. There are a few instances where it'll work out, so I'll put it in C tier. But overall, if you're playing a sub 200 game, this is not providing you anything. All right, up next is Initiation Rites, God of Healing, and God of War. These are impressively bad. You could group all three of them together and still have a D tier pantheon. You're better off not picking a pantheon because at least you wouldn't have to explain to other people why you picked the worst pantheon. If somebody could explain to me a situation where these would ever be a viable choice, I would really like it. But as it stands right now, these are all F tier. Never choose them under any circumstance. Fertility Rites, free builder, 10% growth. Not amazing, not really good, but it's not terrible. It gets a C just because there's so many worse pantheons that the free builder does sort of lift it up a little bit. But in the sub 200 game, there's so many better options than this. Up next is religious settlements are the free settler pantheon because the rest of it does not matter. This pantheon is tough for me because I understand the huge appeal, but it's only as good as your second city is good. It increases your production and gold value as if you had produced a settler. So that brings it down a peg in my book. If it was just a straight up free settler, that didn't count as a settler you produced, so that the first one still costed 320 gold, it would be a much more attractive pantheon to me. But as is, this is the best choice if you don't have a adjacency or culture pantheon start. Otherwise, this will be weaker than either of those. It's still A tier. If you ever pick religious settlements, you didn't pick wrong. It just won't get you the win as fast as an adjacency or the culture pantheon in most situations. City Patron Goddess is probably the best D tier pantheon in the game. It does not provide a good bonus, but at least its bonus is consistent towards something that helps win the game. The main flaw here is by the time you are really going, and this should start paying off, you're going to either be buying your districts with Faith or Gold or chopping them out. And at that point, the production savings is less important. Overall, it's the best of the absolute worst choices, but that still makes it D tier. I want to like Earth Goddess more than I do. In theory, it's a great pantheon. You don't need any improvements, you don't need any technologies, nothing. You just select the pantheon and you start receiving one faith per turn on breathtaking tiles. The main problem is it's incredibly luck based. You have such minimal ability to affect the appeal of your tiles early. All you can do is remove marsh, rainforest, and there's a few districts you can put down for +1 appeal. But beyond that, there's not much you can do. So if you don't naturally have the tiles, this is generally a waste. Now, by about mid-late game, you can plant trees everywhere and basically make your entire empire breathtaking. But by that point, the one faith per turn really doesn't matter anymore. So this is one, if you have the right setup, if you have a lot of average appeal or breathtaking appeal, but when you're done chopping, it'll all be breathtaking. You can make a really good Earth Goddess game, but it's one of those out of 100 games, 90 of them, it's gonna fall flat. Finally, we have Fire Goddess. It's just too weak and specific. If unless you're playing like a very disaster heavy map or volcano heavy map, you're getting so low returns on this. This could be +5 faith, and it still wouldn't be a strong pantheon, in my opinion. The reward you get is too low for the specificness of the tiles it improves. I'd say it's D tier. So that's the end of the list. Let me know in the comments section below what you agree with, what you disagree with, and any questions you have. Otherwise, if you're still watching at this point, you must have found some enjoyment in this. Have you thought of hitting the like and subscribe button? It would help me out a lot. Thanks, and you have yourself a great day.